It feels really strange sitting here wanting to have a discussion about the core of snowboarding. And normally, it's not something I would even think about. But the more I start working on and making this content, the more I start diving into the little nooks and crannies of the snowboard culture as it stands now. And maybe that's not a good idea, but the more you dive in, the more you start seeing these strange things that never really would have been an issue when I started back in the mid-90s. And I know I didn't start back when our forefathers started snowboarding in the late 70s through to the 80s. When I got in, snowboarding was already becoming established. It wasn't where it was in another 5 to 10 years where it really had a hold of the culture. But it started to get its foothold. It wasn't something that had a whole lot of terms that like isolated you and boxed you into this one group or this other group. You were a snowboarder if you strapped on a snowboard and actually went snowboarding. Yeah, there were definitely different avenues in the sport. The jibbing scene was coming on, park and slope style, all that stuff was coming into its own. But it still was, if you put on a snowboard and you slid down a hill, you were a snowboarder. It wasn't any, well, that person's not a real snowboarder and that person is a real snowboarder. And that's a lot of the arguments and discussions we're having today. And if you ask me, and nobody has, but I'm gonna tell you anyways, what I think is the most core thing you can do in snowboarding is to snowboard. Snowboarding started out in a very counter-culture environment, very similar to skateboarding and surfing. And in both of those worlds, you're definitely an outsider. The skateboarders are usually rough and tumble, kicking and pushing away from the cops, grinding on rails where they're not supposed to. And surfers, they're completely different, but in their own way. True hardcore surfers live by the moon and the tides, and they do everything they can do to be where that surf is gonna be when it's gonna be there. Because that moment is so fleeting. It's not like you ride up a chairlift and then your wave is right there, or you can just drop in off the lip of a concrete wave. Nature has to give you that wave to ride. So they're definitely in on it when they're in on it. And that's kind of how snowboarding was in the beginning. It was bright, it was loud. You were an outsider, but you were an outsider that was quick to allow other outsiders in that group. It wasn't trying to be segmented because it couldn't be. We weren't allowed in a lot of places. And honestly, we're still not allowed in all of the places right now. So snowboarding being talked about and discussed in this what's core, who's a snowboarder, who's not a snowboarder, is very strange to a person that started in the mid-90s, early 90s, late 80s, late 90s. People with gray hair, 50s and 40s. I just don't really understand it. But I also don't understand a lot of the way society has been shaped right now. Everything has to have a name, an acronym, a nickname, a category to put it in. And it didn't used to be that way. And if it was, the categories and the nicknames and the culture kind of grew organically. And I don't think it grows as organically as it used to. It's much more forced now. You have to make a box in order to sit in. And everyone has to sit in that box in exactly the same way. And that's one of the things that, not just with snowboarding and skiing and all those things, that is just different to us and the older generation. And it's kind of what makes us wave our fist on our lawn saying, get off my lawn, you young kids. We did things in a much more individual sense. We could be part of a group, the same group, doing the same exact thing, but we absolutely had to have a little bit of flair in what we did. The pants that I wore that were the same pants that this person wore, I had to wear them different. I had to style my hair a little bit different. I had to just have a little bit of a personality, even in that group. Because one of the worst things that you could have been called growing up was a copycat. That was something that when you got called out and it was accurate, you're like, ooh, you know, you never wanted to be a copycat. And now, I mean, people do the same thing over and over and over again and try to say, who did it better? They didn't do it different. They did the same thing. So how do you determine who did the exact same thing better? It's just, I guess it's the world that we live in, but it doesn't allow for enough group individualism, if that even makes sense. And that's what we're seeing in this, are you a real snowboarder? Are you a core snowboarder? Does this brand fit the look? And it's really weird that we're talking about fitting a look, fitting an image. Those things change like the wind blows. One day you're wearing skinny pants, next day they're baggy, next day they're baggy again, next day, I have no idea. But it's just much too fickle to be the thing that determines whether you're of a group or not. And that's what all these discussions are about. They're so surface level that it's harder for people who just want to get on a board and ride can understand. And the whole debate about should this ski company or this brand make snowboard clothes or snowboards, it's all the same technology. It's wood core, it's PTEX base, it's metal edges, it's flex, it's camber, it's all the things that are in skis are in snowboards. All that tech that can come from an industry that has more revenue can be funneled into snowboarding to make snowboarding better. And it has. There have been ski brands that have been part of snowboarding since I started. I rode a K2 board. I had a Rosino setup. It wasn't like a strange thing. You put them on your feet, you got on the mountain, and you rode. It was, we're happy that you're here. You can wear this gear. Like, I don't know the last time I saw a person wearing jeans covered in ice, frozen from head to toe, wearing a starter jacket and loving it. And I'm saying that's a good thing because gear now isn't as expensive as it used to be. And that's one of the strange things that I really was gonna stay away from talking about because I'm not a youngster. And this Dope Snow and Montec thing with this direct to consumer brand that is making ski apparel, jackets, and bibs and pants direct to the customer at an affordable price. And people are up in arms about it. It doesn't make sense. Same exact people who are gonna complain about Epic and Icon and the corporate entities taking over and controlling the ski and snowboard industry and making it more expensive are pointing fingers and looking down at people wearing gear that's good enough, waterproof enough, warm enough, and a lot less expensive. And it gives that group of people some style, allows them to fit in, to be part of the mountain, and ultimately get in the door, get on the slopes, because it is expensive. So why would you point fingers at a brand that is making the sport more accessible? Especially when the majority of people who ski and snowboard, we'll keep it to snowboarding because that's the gripe of this. The majority of people that snowboard 5, maybe 10 days a season. And a couple of those might be a vacation where you might not even be snowboarding the first day and you might be sore the 4th day. So they're not on the mountain nearly enough to justify buying $700 outerwear and stuff that's that technical, or boots and bindings that are of this level, that they're this expensive, that they have this much tech and they have this much flex and this much camber for them to ride 5 days, then pop it in the garage and let the bases and the edges get dry and rusty. And I'm not faulting anyone for just popping your snowboard in the garage when you're done. I ride hard and I put my stuff away wet. But I'm also from a time where if you put it on your feet, you can ride it. I don't need a lot of tech in my board. I have seen that tech improve, and I do understand how the boards I ride now are better than the boards I rode back then. But I guarantee you, I can put on a board from 15 years ago and cruise a blue and a green and still have a great day. That's how it is when you have 2 cats and a dog. There's always some fur in your eye. Okay, I got it. I don't know, I just lost my train of thought. But just enjoying the sport of snowboarding was what it used to be. It was a struggle to get accepted. And then you got accepted. And then it went from a ragtag group of people to the industry starting to cater, starting to make things that were labeled snowboarding, as opposed to you going to the ski shop or the snowboard shop and picking up a jacket that a skier is gonna wear, a snowboarder is gonna wear, because it's an outer layer. It's waterproof, it's windproof, it's warm. It doesn't make a difference if it's labeled ski or snowboard. But there was a time in which that distinction became obvious, became known, and it started to be marketed to snowboarders, and things started to be marketed towards skiers. And it's that driving force that usually corrupts something that is more pure, more fundamental. And we didn't necessarily do a great job. And when I say we, I don't know if I can count myself into that, because I'm still a commuter. I still haven't made my dreams of living at the side of a ski hill happen. But I know that people coming into the sport who go to a bona fide snowboard store, where there aren't that many of them anymore, and there's a reason for that, I think, that they were made to feel uncomfortable. When you only ride 4 or 5 days a year and you go into a place where people live it, breathe it, it's their identity, you can be put off by the lack of love and attention that you get. And I know this from another industry, another world. And I'm going to use the bike shop analogy. I used to go back into bike shops maybe 15, almost 20 years ago. Not 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And I would need a new tube or whatever I needed for my bike. I'd get in there and it would be like, oh yeah, they're over there. I come up to the desk and I want to pay, whatever. People would be talking, doing their own thing, helping you on the peripheral, but not really being attentive. And it's just kind of the bike shop mindset and mentality, which I think is very similar in snowboard shops. But I would get to the register, and then I would do this one thing that would make the whole thing switch. And it just showed me how if you're an outsider, you're always somewhat of an outsider. You can be an peripheral insider and they allow you in. But then there are certain things that you can do and you can say, and they're like, oh, blah, 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 welcome in. I would get up to the register with my tubes or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I heard you have a courier discount. And I pull out my badge, or I show them my license plate. And they're like, oh, you're a bike courier too? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't look like one. And I understood I didn't look like one because it wasn't my primary thing. It was something I was doing on the side because I just enjoyed riding my bike and it seemed like a fun thing to do. But it gave me a segue to be on the inside. And we don't just do that readily when you are a segmented group of people that want to keep something core. They want to keep something fundamental. And you don't allow the new lifeblood to come into the sport that keeps it growing. Because there was a time where on the mountain, everybody seemed like they snowboarded. It was just a growing thing. And now, or maybe not now, it's a little bit different. I'm seeing more people snowboarding now than I did, say, 10 years ago. But there was a time when the skiers started to do all the same tricks in the park and ride the rails. All the young kids were starting to gravitate towards skiing because that was the thing that was cool. And you started to see the majority of people on snowboards were starting to have gray hair. Were starting to look like me. And it was so obvious that snowboarding had lost its cool, had lost its edge. And I don't know what changed to bring it back, because at that point in time, I wasn't chasing any sort of trend or popular whatever. I was just riding, same thing that I'm doing now. But it did change. It got back to the discussions that we're having now about the core, about who's a snowboarder and who's not. And that's not good for the growth, the continued growth, the acceptance of the sport. We shouldn't gatekeep something that should be this enjoyable, should be allowed in. You should be willing to impart your knowledge and give it to the next generation. Like I said, passing on that stoke, growing that stoke, pushing it forward, more so than trying to isolate it and hoard it. It's just a mindset that I don't understand, especially coming from something that had to fight so hard to get to where it was accepted and acceptable. And now we're just doing what we do. We don't know how to, that's the thing. It doesn't seem like we know how to want to enjoy ourselves. Because if we just sat back, just took a deep breath and decided to just not be those people and let whoever rides the mountain ride the mountain the way they want, wear what they want, do the tricks that they want, have the vernacular they want, go to the mountains they want, and just enjoy it. Because how you ride your ride, what you wear, how you speak, that doesn't affect anything that brings joy to my ride, to the way I wear my clothes, to the way that I speak. And that's how it used to be. I don't know what we need to do to get back to that. But until we do, it's gonna be more negative information out there than positive. So that's why hopefully what I'm trying to say actually takes some foothold and sinks in. Because the most core thing you can do on a snowboard is ride that snowboard. enjoy the ride, love the ride, and help somebody else do the same. I'm Blair, and this is the Dirtbag Association, where our wax is old, our knees are older, but the stoke doesn't melt. See you on the mountain.